Hey everyone, it's Broman here. I just want to give my own thoughts on the DCEU. Um, in my opinion, I think we all can agree it's not the best for a superhero cinematic universe. Marvel, has their cinematic universe, which is, I think we can all agree, is the best. And I thought Man of Steel was alright at first, and then Batman vs Superman came out, which took its time really on the development of that. Was because that the Man of Steel came out what 2012, and then the BVS came out in 2016, followed by Suicide Squad, and then it wasn't until last year we got Wonder Woman and Justice League. So that movie took its time, but they haven't been. I know financially they've made a lot of money, but BVS should have been $1 billion movie. I think we can all agree on that because it's got the Trinity. It's got Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. So it's got the three biggest heroes of all time. Introducing the other three for the Justice League movie, which those cameos were kind of not necessary. If you watch the How It Should Have Ended video for the Batman vs Superman movie, with Aquaman, it being introduced that way, by saving Superman, that would have been a nice cameo, perhaps. But this way how they use, they've used Superman at BVS. It's kind of silly, especially due to the fact that he had an hour to deal with Batman and I guess save his mom. In the video of How It Should Have Ended, they show that it didn't take him that long to find his mom. I mean, he goes pretty fast. He's not as fast as the Flash, of course, as Barry Allen, but he's pretty quick. So that whole thing, or you got an hour to do this, and it's just weird because Superman would have dealt with Batman really quickly. He's OP. One smack, just one punch. I mean, he would have done it. But I guess with the adaptation they're taking from Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, Superman and Batman have known each other a while from that Elseworld storyline, and Superman wasn't gonna go kill Batman. And in this one, there's I guess Superman is still a good person and stuff, but Batman's actually literally trying to kill Superman. So I don't know. I guess there's just some explanation there where he's just holding back his punches or whatever. He's not gonna kill him, but maybe, I don't know. Some people just would be like, he would have killed him, which is true. There's been things where Superman has beaten up Batman in the comic books. So, but the whole tone that they've taken it's not right, because with Man of Steel they take it with a dark tone, which generally in his comic book runs, I've been reading the on my Kindle here, hold on, I gotta go back. I've been reading the Batman stuff, and it's been kind of boring, really, with the I'm on the more of jokes and riddles, and it's been really boring with that. I'm kind of sleeping on that one. But here, let me pull it up. So yeah, with the Rebirth with Superman. So, although it's not down, I guess. But yeah, so let me bring it in here. So the Son of Superman one, that didn't look too great, but fortunately, it's just how it is. That that run has been pretty good, especially I think it's the first one. Uh, they had it where Superman's like at this fair with his wife Lois, and they have their son Jonathan, and Superman dealt with these criminals and stuff, and you hear the background like what's being said and stuff, but and there on the ride, Jonathan is having fun and stuff, and that was funny and fun and stuff. You know, the character and stuff through the comic books really has always been lighthearted, and it's always had a pleasant tone to it. You feel good at stuff with it. But what they've done with Superman is they've given him a Christopher Nolan the Dark Knight trilogy tone to those movies, which that's not Superman's tone. His tone is Superman Returns and the old Superman movies. And so they kind of got the tone wrong, because in this one he's more, in the Man of Steel, he's an anti-hero really, because he's just like he's in this city causing all this destruction. He's not looking around him and stuff and like, oh crap, like I can't fight here because I'm going to cause all these problems. That's why in Superman 2 he's like, I have to go and get these people out of here. I had to have them follow me because I'm going to cause all this destruction. I can't have innocents die, which is like the smart thing with that movie. So when I'm talking about Superman 2, of course. So with Man of Steel, there's all this needless destruction because Zack Snyder, really, he's more of a visual like action storyteller. As I guess I don't really want to say 300 is the best example. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, Watchmen, that movie is probably his best. Well, okay, 300 is his best adaptation of a comic book based off of a true event, and Watchmen, I guess, was the second best, but Man of Steel was this more successful one because it's Superman, coming back in a new way. But they just didn't do that right, and it really is Zack Snyder with his tone on this character and stuff, just not doing the right thing with him, and David S. Goyer being the writer, who I think, let me check here, I think he was one of the writers for, I think he was part of the original Dark Knight trilogy or something like that. Maybe he was part of Dark Knight Rises. David S. Goyer. Yeah. So yeah, he was part of he was a writer for Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. Which, for me, I guess that worked stuff, but for Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, I'm so glad he was not part of Justice League, because I think that's just the problem, because he worked on Blade as a writer. I don't know, he was the writer for Kickboxer 2 and the Crow City of Angels, and which I think I only heard that once, and then Blade. He was a writer and a writer for Blade 2 and 3, and he directed Blade Trinity and was an executive. Wait, is that okay? Yeah, and then he directed. No, he was an executive for Ghost Rider. Okay, getting the Invisible thing mixed up. So he has more professional, I guess, with dark tones, the dark elements and stuff of characters. With the Blade trilogy, Ghost Rider, and a Dark Knight trilogy, that's more of his thing. So him coming over to do Man of Steel to be a writer for that just was not the correct thing. They needed someone who was more in the department, more in the area of doing, fun, heroic superheroes. Who that could have been? I don't. Joss Whedon, I guess, if they wanted him, or uh, I don't know who would have been. Cause I don't know that many writers, honestly. I'm not that familiar with the writing people in Hollywood. But if he wanted to do like, I think they need like a couple writers or so. Well, I think they actually had that for the Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, written by Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer. Okay, so and I think the reason Chris Terrio was brought on board was because Ben Affleck's work for what was that movie that he won Best Director for? Or was it Best Picture or something like that? Uh, Argo. Okay, that's right. So Chris Terrio was like a writer on that, and they brought him over, I guess, just because maybe Ben Affleck recommended him or something like that. And I think David S. Goyer was like the original writer for BVS, and maybe David S. Goyer could have just written a part for Batman's side, and then someone could have written a part for Superman stuff and Lois and all that, and then maybe just have like a really good like an Academy Award winning writer or something like that look over it and just like make sure like these the stories mesh together, because it really didn't, because the Batman tone and everything was kind of like all over this movie. This dark tone was just over it. Superman just being down and stuff. When he's uplifting and everything, he's you see him, he's a symbol of hope, and it's just it wasn't the tone for that movie was not done right. It was all one sided, not two. There's just nothing going there. It's just really dark and all that. I mean, it didn't have to be that way. You could have had it with Batman's side and stuff, dark and all that, and then Superman's side, it's it's lighthearted and all that. You have a sense of hope from his side, and then the thing, like, and if you read the comic books of Justice League and stuff, or if you ever watch cartoons or anything like that, when Batman's on, really his tone doesn't take over anything else. There's all this one blended tone where it's just everything's just fine. It's not like he comes in and he just takes over everything. So because it's all these other characters that are like hard and stuff, so it's mostly that kind of stuff. It's only when it's on Batman specifically doing a certain thing, but not exactly. Well, I guess when he's with another character, just like one specifically, it's his kind of tone, that stuff. So with this movie, it should have really had two different tones, but it only had one over the entire thing, which just didn't really work. And then you got Suicide Squad, which I only watched the Suicide Squad movie, that the Batman Assault on Arkham, which for some reason that movie, the Suicide Squad was done right, but with this movie Suicide Squad it wasn't, because for some reason they had to make they made it where Deadshot was a likable guy. I'm like, this guy's not a good guy. He's a bad guy. Of course, through the movie they have to say, we're the bad guys, we're not good. It's like like you're going out there saving the world. That's not exactly what bad guys do. Bad guys don't go out there and save the world. They don't care. They fight amongst each other and stuff and all that. But yeah, because really the movie should have been focused on the Joker or something like that. But there are Suicide Squad comic books that they could have looked at and taken from those, because this was just a completely original idea as far as I can tell. I've never read any of the Suicide Squad comic books, so I can't really comment. I honestly don't know if they ever went against Enchantress, which it's possible. Maybe like the old runs of the Suicide Squad they did, because I know she was a part of that. I did look online at least a few times where she was a member, and maybe she became like one of the bad guys or whatever. But they could have at least looked at the New 52 run, which is where I believe they get the design and stuff of Superman, for his costume, and all that. And of course the the BVS for Batman they get from The Dark Knight Returns. So, so with that movie, it should have been the Joker that could have been the villain, but the way how they did his character was not correct. It just was not. I mean, he's not a gangster or anything like that. That's not him. They didn't do it right. And I don't know, Jared Leto, I have no idea. When you watch a lot of YouTubers, especially like John Campia or Collider or Chris Tuckman or something like that, or maybe Angry Joe Show or whomever, I would say more actually it's the way of Collider and John Campia, where they talk about, these actors know what they're doing, whatever, they were good for this role, something like that, and it's like, no, really they weren't. But they only say that just because they don't have the balls to be honest, because they have their certain viewpoint where it's just, they've gone down the drain. They've been in this industry, part of it, for too long, and they just don't know what they're doing. Jared Leto could have been a good Joker, but the Joker that he played, stuff that he was asked to do, this Joker and stuff, just was not good. It was a pretty bad Joker, but the Joker should have been the villain, and that's what they were kind of making it out as, really, when you look at the trailers, because there's nothing on Enchantress, there's just a little bit of her, but they make it look like the Joker is the villain. So that's misleading. You're misleading the audience and stuff. Everyone was expecting, for, the Suicide Squad to go out the Joker, maybe he's doing something or whatever. Because in the cartoon, in that animated movie, they're going after the Riddler because, I don't remember exactly why. I just know he was someone who escaped or whatever, and then he knew how to remove the implants and stuff, the explosives. And the way they did that, though, was like they went through shock therapy and stuff, and like it, fried it. And so that's what they did for that. And for Wonder Woman, I think that's the best one. I do have that podcast video if you decide to go look back. I didn't really see much wrong with that movie. Something I really didn't. Although the gas serum, whatever, the super soldier strength that German colonel or general got, making him go toe to toe with Wonder Woman. I'm not exactly sure on that part, really. Just because she is the daughter of Zeus, and it to me that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If she's what's the term, like a demigod or something like that, that's pretty much like what she is. She's not really a god, but she's half, she's a hybrid, human god, and when she's going against, was it Ares, which they cast the wrong person for that role, honestly. Especially with him having the mustache, was completely ridiculous. And the CGI armor was stupid, and him just throwing stuff was ridiculous because obviously this guy is at a point in his age where he can't do fight choreography. I mean, it's obvious just from that scene going on. So they should have gotten someone like maybe Sean Bean who could possibly do that stuff. I don't know if he did anything in Game of Thrones. I only watched like the pilot episode, and I'm not gonna watch that stuff because of the red wedding thing. Because that whole thing that goes on there is just ridiculous, and I don't need to see something like that where all these women get brutally murdered stuff, especially a pregnant woman. Like, if you like a pregnant woman getting killed, there's something fundamentally wrong with your head. You're fucked up in the head. Like, there's just no way. Like, and I tried getting over this stuff with the Telltale Games, thing for, their Game of Thrones. But when you kill a little kid too, I mean, there's something fucked up in your mind when you think that's okay to put that out there as entertainment. There is something wrong with your head. I had to say it. If you're someone like that, you're fucked up in the head. There's something mentally wrong. You suffer from some sort of mental disorder. But if you like that stuff, there is something wrong with you. You're disturbed by something happened to you in your past that you like that. I don't know what it is. I honestly don't want to know, but you might want to talk to a therapist about it. I just have to be honest about it, okay? Anyways, get back to it. So either Sean Bean could have done that role, which I think some people were talking about how he could be the person, or unless he was going to be Hades or something like that. The only other person I could think of that I would prefer is Gerard Butler, because he's doing action stuff and all that. So for me, I would prefer that. And instead of him just getting the armor on all CGI and stuff, like all this metal stuff from the ground, that's stupid. What should happen is maybe like a cloak or something like comes off, and like maybe the clothing he's wearing is fake or something like that. So it's like a disguise, like a cloak thing or something like that. So that all comes off, and then you see his real armor and stuff, and then maybe his eyes glow red or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if that goes on for Ares in the comic books, but something has to go down like that where he's disguised actual armor on from the comic books, or at least something similar to it, but not that CGI crap. Because it's Gerard Butler. I don't think he would have a problem wearing that stuff. But this guy, I know he was in the Harry Potter movies. What was that one? Was it Dinotopia or something like that he was in too? Where he was like supposedly a good guy, but he really wasn't, and he needed those crystals in order to like power his submarine and stuff to get out of there. But then he gets eaten by that big fish. I know that's something like really weird to think about. It's like, wait a minute, I haven't thought about that in years. Or maybe some of you haven't seen it. I don't know. It's actually all right, really. It's maybe something like today. I don't know. But it's kind of like something you look at that, and it's obviously, I believe, done after Jurassic Park. So that's probably where they looked at that, Jurassic Park, and then they went off to do their own thing. I think it was made, like a TV made movie stuff, so I don't know. I just remember watching it, but I enjoyed it. Although the one character in it who was neglecting his dinosaur hatchling was kind of a dick. He's like, he called him by his like number, was it 26, and he's telling like the dinosaur to like go back or whatever, but the dinosaur's like, no, like, you're my dad, like, please don't leave me and stuff. And I was feeling really sad for that dinosaur. I'm like, that guy's such a dick. And anyways, so Gerard Butler should have been it, but I think Wonder Woman, at least it worked for me, and I wish, spoiler alert, Steve Trevor did not die. I really wish they didn't do that to him. Unless he's got something with a wife, or he, had, a thing or something from with some other woman, and maybe he's got a descendant named Steve Trevor. That maybe will pop up. I don't know if it'll pop up in the Wonder Woman 2. If that still happens, I don't know, because they still plan on going forward with the DCEU and stuff, and unless it's the DCFU or something like that, which sounds really weird, but I'm gonna say DCEU because the FU part eh. And with 1 or 2 all that stuff, I have no idea if it's going to continue, if they're going to reboot it or not. I honestly think they should reboot it and kind of just look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe and just go from that. I know people will say they'll be copying it or whatever, but it's kind of the only thing that really works. I mean, because to start off with a Justice League movie and have all these characters, the reason being behind why it's formed, though, is because, with some of them they knew each other and all that. I know in the New 52, unless they look at the New 52 approach, and they say, and they kind of give a development of these characters, because if they do that, they have to make it over 2 hours, because it being at the hour 59 mark, that doesn't really work. You need more development for these characters to have them fleshed out and everything. I mean, I find Justice League, though, more enjoyable than Star Wars The Last Jedi. Of course, you guys already know that. Why I don't like The Last Jedi from my reviews and stuff and all that. I mean, that movie just sucks. It's like the #1 worst movie for me of 2017. Although I haven't watched that many, but I'll watch a few movies stuff that came out last year tomorrow. But anyways, yeah, I think, because here's the thing, the reason everyone knows why the Marvel Cinematic Universe is successful, it's because Kevin Feige has this vision and stuff. As said in the Infinity War trailer, there was an idea. Kevin Feige had this idea, and he knew where he wanted to take it. Yeah, there was, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, there's Thor the Dark World. So they've had a few bumps, but they've been really successful. I mean, they had the first Avengers movie, which made over $1 billion. You had Iron Man 3 as a follow-up, which made over $1 billion. I don't like Iron Man 3. I hate that movie. What they did with the characters and stuff just pissed me off. Where they say, Tony Stark is always Iron Man. You're not really Iron Man, because if some guy comes up behind you and shoots you, I mean, that's dead Tony Stark. And the Iron Man suit, he is one with that suit. They are connected. Bruce Wayne is always Batman because he's got the training and stuff. He's got, everything, and stuff. So he's not really, worried. Diana is always Wonder Woman. Or Kent is really, Kal-El is always Superman. That kind of stuff. Tony Stark is only Iron Man when he's got the suit on and stuff. So I just have to go into that. But anyways, I mean, their cinematic universe has always been successful, really. But the DCEU is really not. Critics, I fuck them. What matters is what you guys like. That's what matters. Fuck what those critics say. It is you that matters, not them, not what they say. It is what you like. The reason why studios make movies is for you, is for us. It's not for the critics. They don't. Honestly, this is a problem because they always worry about what the critics say. We gotta get out of that mold about what the critics say. whatever appeals to you in a trailer and stuff, if you think you like that, then go watch it. Don't listen to what critics say. Don't say, it's this, it's riveting and stuff and all that from like what the trailers say. Like, don't worry about that. You have to see it for yourself if it appeals to you, if it's in the realm of things that you like. Like, I don't see horror movies, they're not really my thing. I stopped. Like, I think I stopped after. It wasn't the reboot of the Friday 13th. I think it was after the reboot of, or whichever one became before the other. It was like a Nightmare on Elm Street or something. I don't know. I just gave up on all that stuff because zombies just killing people and all that stuff. People disliking seeing people get eaten. It's like when people like that stuff, it's like there's something mentally wrong. So when I watch that stuff, I'm like, ooh, that just, like, something in my brain just clicked on, like, wait a minute, that's not okay to watch this. That's not. It's ew. At least for me, I don't know. Some therapists might have to. You might want to go to them and ask them why you like that stuff and figure it out. I mean, I'm not trying to be judgmental and stuff, but technically, if you think about it just for a minute, it's like, and you like watching people get eaten and stuff, and just senseless violence, there's something wrong with you there. At least from my perspective and stuff. But that's just me, because I just don't like to see people just be killed, and so just be killed. That's not okay from my point of view. So, yeah, but yeah, so what needs to happen, I think the DCEU needs to get rebooted, honestly. They gotta stop with the Shazam movie and everything else and just restart and build up their characters and stuff, and then make a Justice movie and then go off from that. Because from what I heard of all these other projects that they're doing, and they're not even doing a Man of Steel 2 movie yet, they're doing that after all these other ones. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, Superman is their biggest player and stuff. I mean, they need to find people who can play these characters and stuff, because Ben Affleck is leaving, and I know they're gonna have to put. Sorry, I've got this notification thing popping up. Hold on one sec. Sorry, I had my Chrome thing open. I don't know why I didn't close that, but they've got Ben Affleck leaving. I don't know who they're gonna get to replace him. I don't know if they're gonna do a Dick Grayson taking over the cowl, or if they're gonna get Armie Hammer or John Hamm or someone like one of those two people to play the character. I heard stuff about Jake Gyllenhaal, but the guy's like 5'11", so he's way shorter than Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck I think is like 6'3", 6'4", so that's like honestly, in those movies, like, you can actually tell when when something's off by size and stuff, because you'll look at these things and it's like, man, like, that guy's short. Plus, you can just go online and just type in how tall is this person and stuff. So when you just type in the actor's name, they'll probably drop down their weight and whatever. I don't know why they would have the weight, but at least have a height there. So, but yeah, I think it's just best that they reboot and they have someone who has a vision and stuff. But you also, when you do these things, which I think this is another reason why the MCU works, is that you have your beginning of where everything starts at and stuff, and then how you conclude the finale and stuff. Like, you need to have a phase 1, the beginning, and then the end of that, and how it concludes and stuff, and then how the story will continue on after that, and down the line how you want it. In my opinion, how this whole DCEU or DC Cinematic Universe, DCCU, how it would end is probably with the comic book Kingdom Come, which I don't know how many people have read that, but it's pretty much like in this far future where, you know, Superman is kind of not around stuff, and you know, superheroes themselves have gone run amok and causing problems, taking, you know, control of areas around the world and all that, and Superman has to come back and get things put right and stuff, and it kind of ends with Shazam, spoiler, getting killed along with several others from this bomb and stuff, and it ends on a happy ending with, you know, the Trinity, you know, Superman and Wonder Woman are, you know, gonna have a kid, and Bruce Wayne will become the godfather of this child, so that way this child has an idea of what the world likes from a human perspective. You know, Superman went to retirement because Joker killed Lois Lane, which I guess they took that element from that storyline probably into Injustice: Gods Among Us, unless that's been done before. Well, I mean, I know it's been done before in the Superman movie, but Joker didn't kill Lois. That was just an earthquake caused by that missile that was it the San Andreas Trench, and, you know, killed Lois. So, but yeah, at least in this one, yeah, so, you know, the Joker killed Lois and stuff, but then this one guy, called like the God or something, killed Joker and stuff, and then, you know, the justice system then went his way, pretty much saying, you know what, the Joker's been doing all of this and everything stuff. And you know what is funny about this? Like, I think the Joker at some point, literally in DC Rebirth, he has got to die. Because the justice system literally has to look at, like, this guy, you know, they have to look at him. It's like, yeah, he's crazy, but we know he's going to continue doing this stuff. We gotta put him on death row and get him killed and stuff. I don't know why they keep doing this thing where they keep running with the same BS in the comic books and stuff. Like, he's out, he's gonna kill again. Oh, he's out, he's gonna kill again. Oh, well, he got thrown into it. It's a spinning cycle and stuff. It's gotta end. You know, someone like at DC, you know, the writers stuff, have to realize that, and this is true, everything has to come to an end. I mean, Valiant Entertainment, you know, their comics, you know, they've rebooted, you know, their old stuff at least, but they're also coming out with new things, which, you know, I actually recommend that you guys go and read those, pick them up from Comixology, or go to your comic book store. Probably, you know, it depends on, you know, if you live in an apartment, like myself, go to Comixology, because, you know, they'll go on a cloud drive and stuff, and it's there, so if you have a Kindle or something like that, you can go and just read it online and stuff, like, you know, like I do. You know, it's just easier. But, you know, if you live in a house and you've got the space and stuff, then, you know, I would say go to your comic book store stuff, and just, you know, make sure you have stuff prepared, you know, where you can make rooms for those comic books. And I think they're coming out with a Bloodshot movie or something, which I actually haven't read any of these. I actually just bought, what was it, the Divinity stuff, like where the Soviet guy was sent out to the cosmos and stuff, and like he comes back with like all these powers and stuff, so, which I'm going to read, because I remember hearing about that at the Rose City Comic Con. Was it back in 2013 or 14 or something like that? So the idea actually sounded interesting to me, so I'm gonna get that a read, because it's like, you know, it's a different take and stuff, and it's just an alternate thing. There's like Rai, which I've actually really enjoyed, which is like this cyborg ninja in Japan and stuff, and Earth is like through this nuclear war or something like that. So, and then there's this one called Ninjak, and I think there was a web series or something like that, or on the character, or there's something which, you know, looks pretty good. I did read the first volume, and that stuff was insane, but it's the one I recommend. But anyways, yeah, I think they need to reboot, and when they reboot, they need to have someone who comes in like a Kevin Feige and oversee everything, and they need to have this vision, and they need to write a storyboard out of like how their films are going to go down, like what happens in the first, one, second, third, fourth, fifth, and how long they want to make their first phase. Like it just needs to happen like that. If they want to do a Justice League movie first, I recommend that they look at the New 52 one and just, you know, have all that stuff down, and, you know, give development and stuff to these characters. Make sure, but the film at least needs to be 2 hours and 45 minutes, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not a, you know, film director and stuff, so. But it's kind of like what I would do, just to make sure that there's enough development for these characters and stuff, because there is, you know, when I read this, you know, there is a little bit that goes down, but of course Batman, which is why I would recommend that they do the Marvel formula, honestly, because Batman in this comic book just knows pretty much everything, especially like the Justice League War. You know, Batman knows that Superman is Clark Kent, who the Flash is pretty much, and stuff about the Green Lantern. I'm just like, man, Batman's just, he just knows everything. So for me, I wouldn't really go with that approach, because it is just a little bit silly. It is just better, you know, just find some actors and just start, you know, with a Superman and Batman movie in the same year, and then just go from there, and just, yeah, you know, build towards a Justice League movie, and you know, go on from that. That's how, at least I think it should be done, because, you know, they could have done it in the way that they were going, but, you know, they needed to do Man of Steel correctly with the right tone. It was a Dark Knight tone, Batman Begins kind of thing. That's not Superman. Superman is not Batman. I know there is a comic book in Elseworlds where Superman was Batman, in that it was like the Batman speeding bullets or something like that. So it gives me a headache when I try to think about that stuff, so I'm trying to remember these things. So I know he was that, but then like later on he became Superman, like at the end, because Lois Lane came and says like, do you really want to be like this, or do you want to be something better? So yeah, that's just, you know, my thoughts. You know, it could have been done right, but they just didn't know what they're doing, because, you know, we can watch Suicide Squad as well. It's more like a gangster squad movie, and you know, at least that's what I've heard. It just was not done right, because all these characters are likable. It's like, you know, you need to make them gritty and dark and bad. Like, you know, Deadshot is, you know, the world's greatest marksman. You know, they should have been made, you know, where he's not nice or anything like that. Maybe he's, you know, flirtatious with Harley or something like that, but they just didn't know what to do with these characters. They went their own way, and it just didn't work. Like, I have the extended versions of BVS and Suicide Squad, but even with those, I mean, they're both okay movies. I don't think they're great. You know, Wonder Woman is really the only good one, because it was directed by Patty Jenkins, who just made that movie more uplifting, and it's, you know, you just feel good. You know, you smile and stuff, and Wonder Woman's like, yeah, you root for her. And Man of Steel, you're just like, oh my god, what the hell is going on? All this destruction. Is this a Michael Bay film? You know, that's kind of like what the sense you get, especially, you know, with BVS. I mean, you're watching that, and there's all this destruction and everything going on, and you're just like, man, like, what the hell? And with Superman taking Doomsday out in space and they shoot the rocket, I'm just like that's the dumbest idea. Let him do what he's doing. Cause like if you have all the proof that you need and stuff, Superman's doing the right thing. You don't just go off and shoot them both and possibly kill Superman. That's just a horrible idea. So, I mean, because if you watch how it should have ended, Superman ends up punching Doomsday hard enough into the sun. So, I don't know. Oh, that's the other thing with Kingdom Come is that Superman is really OP because he literally becomes resistant to kryptonite. I'm like, well, because when I was reading that story, I've had it for a few years. Just when I read it, I'm like, yeah, it's about time he became resistant to kryptonite. He's not resistant to magic, though. He'll never be resistant to that. But yeah, I don't know. Just hearing this reboot stuff, I'm like, man, it sucks. But you know what? I'm like, you know what? They can turn it around and do it right, but they don't want to, I guess, which is the worst idea because the box office, everyone's not seeing. I saw Justice League twice. I think I only saw BVS once in theaters and like that. Same with Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman though is the one I like the most out of them, even more than Justice League, although I do enjoy Justice League. But yeah, they need a reboot, not continue and stuff. Because at least with Justice League, they were trying to do a different tone and stuff, which they were going the right direction, but still it had that dark tone and all that. And, I keep watching John Campea stuff and how he's talking about the tones, like, these movies can't have, like, no, they cannot, because everyone knows Superman is not a dark character. I know he has those moments where he just gets angry, but generally the character Superman is good. He embodies, all that is good. He's not an anti-hero. Batman is an anti-hero, pretty much. He's a vigilante. He beats criminals to a pulp. And there's been a few times where he's killed a few here and there. Especially, talking about people like Batman doesn't kill. Did you not see the 1989 version of Batman? He pushed the Joker. Well, he pushed him off the edge pretty much, and then he saved Vicky Vale and killed the Joker pretty much. I'm like, hello. And there was the Penguin that died as well because of him, I believe, in the Batman Returns. So it's like, don't talk about Batman as a kill. He kills if it's necessary. He's done it. I know there's the whole line in Batman Under the Red Hood where he's like, it would be too easy for me to do so, but I know that if I cross that line, I know I'll never come back from it. That's the reason why he doesn't kill. But everyone's like, oh man, if he just killed, it's like, yeah, but then you're no better than the guys that you're trying to take down. And then of course there's arguments like, yeah, but what about our soldiers or police officers? Like, well, they are authorized by the government and the people pretty much. Like, we give them permission to kill to protect us, but we do not give the proper authorization to these vigilantes and stuff to kill. I know there's those things and stuff in TV shows and whatnot, in the comic books and animated movies where it's like, what, if Batman kills someone or whatever, or they do this and that, it's like, I'm fine with that. Just keep them off my streets and away from my house or family and stuff. So, but those are only a few people. But then you have the government, the city hall, whatever, the mayor, saying no, we don't condone what these actions and stuff. Him killing people. That's our job, or that's not how the justice system works. Which he abides by that. So, yeah, but I think I will end it there. I really would like them to reboot it and give us a proper, you know, DC cinematic universe. I mean, you know, they tried with Man of Steel. I think that movie was alright stuff, but I don't think it's the best Superman movie. I was actually happy though when this movie's come out, because the thing with the other ones though is that the fight choreography in those were really cheesy. But in this one, you know, it's updated and it's actually, you know, it's got the action and stuff, and then, you know, so that I was happy. But you know, you can have action with those types of tones of movies. I mean, you know, if you just look at the MCU, it can work. I mean, you just gotta do it right. So you just need the right people for that. You know, and I don't think Zack Snyder should have done that. I mean, I forget what year that. It was 2016 when he came out. Did Age of Ultron come out? Hold on, I have to look this up real quick. I apologize. So yeah, because it came out in 2016. Let's see, Avengers. So Avengers: Age of Ultron. Okay, so that came out in 2015. So I think they could have had Joss Whedon come over, like WB could have gave him a call or something like that, and say, hey, do you want to co-direct this or something? You know, because you just watch those two movies. I mean, he's the guy who's directed the two most successful ensemble, you know, movies. Besides the Russo brothers, who did the Civil War movie, which I also believe made over $1 billion, because they had pretty much all the Avengers plus Black Panther and Spider-Man. So, although it didn't have Hulk, actually, did not have Hulk, but you know, and it did not have Thor, because they were off doing other stuff at the time. So, but yeah, I think if Joss Whedon had been on to co-direct, and maybe he was doing Superman stuff, while also collaborating with Zack Snyder, who could have been doing, you know, the Batman side of things, and putting their heads together to, you know, do this movie, it would have worked. And then after that, they could have gone with Joss Whedon to do the Justice League movie, just because he knows how to do the ensemble cast better. Because, you know, we saw with Watchmen, that movie didn't do so well. I know, but 300, you know, people like that. But that's really his only movie that's been a success. With he's got an ensemble cast that's like, you know, like a team kind of thing, you know, like that. So they needed someone who could be brought in to make $1 billion movie, and Zack Snyder just isn't that person. Joss Whedon is. So hopefully, you know, they can bring someone on that's on the same level as Kevin Feige. Who that is, I honestly don't know. If they want to do Joss Whedon, that's fine. Although Joss Whedon would work perhaps for Star Wars, or maybe the Russo brothers would be best for Star Wars. But yeah, maybe they should ask if Joss Whedon would like. I know they would, you know, want him to do a. You know, he wants to do a Batgirl movie, which wouldn't really work right now, because no one has any idea who she is really. You know, I'm sure a lot of you don't, but I'll give you. She is the daughter of Jim Gordon, the commissioner of Gotham City, and she, you know, became Batman's. She was actually, I believe, I think she was the first or second one, because I know because Dick Grayson was the first Robin, but she might have been like after him or something like that. So there's that whole dynamic there, because, you know, she would later become the Oracle after during this comic book thing called the Killing Joke. I believe that was it. She got like shot in the back, and she ended up in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. But of course, in the Prime Earth with the reboot and rebirth as well, she's just Batgirl. So yeah, I just don't think that would work. They could say, well, you can do that after you get all these characters and stuff established or something like that. But yeah, that's just how I look at this. I think it really does need just a hard reboot. They just gotta hit that reset button and just make a story and stuff, because I honestly, I'm not sure what they were doing, because especially if it took them somewhere between 2 to 4 years to make the BVS movie, that just shows that they weren't 100% prepared with what to do with it. So with this cinematic universe, because they were talking about how it's gonna be Man of Steel 2 stuff, and I'm like, okay, because we saw the Wayne thing, the satellite, and I was thinking, well, okay, so they're gonna do Man of Steel 2, and maybe they're also gonna do a Batman. Everyone was talking about Army Hammer coming in, and in all honesty, that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping that they were gonna get Army Hammer as Batman, and later on, they would, build the franchise and stuff from there, and then make a Justice League movie, and whoever they wanted that to be, either Steppenwolf, Darkseid, Brainiac, whomever, a certain character, or, a team of characters, a group of villains, they could have gone in that direction, but, they went this way. They swung the bat, though, and got one home run, but the rest were just 3s, 4s. Well, they got 3 strikes, 1 home run, and a walk. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. But I will end this video. If you like it, that's cool. If not, hey, that's totally fine. Subscribe if you wish. I know I said on my previous video I was gonna do a review for another Netflix movie, which is called The Babysitter. It's got this one YouTuber, blind guy called, was it King Botch or something like that, I believe his name is, which I thought was interesting. And then they had someone who was in the Flash series as, I forget what his name was, but the Firestorm guy, it was the original one, and was in the not Nickelodeon, but Cartoon Network movie of the kind of origins or whatever of the Scooby-Doo gang. So I forget what his name was, but he's in that one as well. I think there's someone else that's in there, but I will give that movie a watch and perhaps give it a review if I'm in the mood to do that stuff. But yeah, that's it really. I know people like Henry Cavill as Superman, and I think he looks great as Superman and Clark Kent. Amy Adams of Lois Lane honestly just never, I never really cared for it. I think they went with the wrong person. I think they should have gone with someone for Lois Lane to be a couple years older than Henry Cavill, but Amy Adams, because she's in her 40s, I believe, so they just got someone who was, up there and stuff, and, I'm not saying, of course, they were ever planning on having, Superman's son in there, but, they should have, dialed it back a notch on who his love interest, you know, for Lois Lane and stuff. Of course, they keep doing the whole Lois Lane thing. Like, I honestly hope someone really over there just says a reboot, that they actually get his first actual love interest, which is Lana Lang, and then I believe after that it was Lois. Because I believe originally in the comic books it was Lana. But, you know, they had the years with Clark and Lois develop and stuff, and then they end up getting married, and then they have a son. But, you know, if you watch, well, not watch, but if you read, you know, the DC rebirth of Superman, the son of Superman, you know, and then the whole thing with them at the fair and stuff like that's, you know, you just read that stuff and it's like, man, like, just, you know, the connections to stuff and how they're just writing this, and, you know, it's fun, it makes you happy and laugh and stuff. They can do that for Superman while also having, you know, the great action, those movies. But if they, you know, so, and if they do reboot, if they do the hard reboot, so in other words, the sides, and after Aquaman's like, that's it, we're gonna reboot. You know, for the first villain, I don't know. Don't have it be Lex Luthor, not Zod. You know, you did that stuff. You can have them introduced a little bit later. You know, I don't remember who it was for. Sorry, I just want to look here really quick for references. Not All-Star Superman, where that one was kind of sad. No, I don't want to read Dragon Ball. Sorry, I'm trying to find that stuff and it doesn't want me to do so for some reason. So maybe if they look at, I don't know, Superman Birthright or Superman Secret Origin. Let me look at the Secret Origin. Okay, but I believe it was in Secret Origin. Anyways, where they had Parasite, I believe. So maybe they want to use him as the villain, which is connected to Lex Luthor. So I guess you can have Lex Luthor in the background stuff, but the main villain would be Parasite in the reboot. So if they want to go that way, I think that would work. You know, and if they want to stick with the current costume stuff of Superman, or they want to put the red tights back on him, like the red underwear, either way, I mean, I've got this statue over here. I'm not gonna. It's just a Superman like DC Rebirth statue, where, you know, he doesn't have the underwear and stuff. They kept, you know, the same kind of outfit from New 52 with this. So, you know, either way, you know, they want to go back to the red boots and red underwear, that's fine with me, or they just want to keep it as it is. Either way, I really hope, and maybe everyone here who watches this video, you know, that they just, you know, reboot. Maybe make Parasite, you know, the villain, or Metallo 2 or something like that, and just bring it a new direction. You know, because you can have the moments where he's fighting stuff in a certain tone or whatever, but just an overall, you know, it's just supposed to be, you know, not dark and depressing, and, you know, with this character. I understand, you know, with the Death of Superman stuff and all that stuff, you know, that whole line there was supposed to be like, oh my gosh, like, what's going on and stuff, you know. You know, it's supposed to be like sad and stuff with that. But, you know, overall, they just need to look at what the comic books are and stuff, and just, you know, do it right. At least that's just my opinion. But yeah, that's it, and thank you all very much for watching. So if you want to just like I said, like, subscribe. If you want to put a comment down on the video, and put your thoughts. If you think they should, or if they want to keep going. You know, it's up to you guys. Leave your thoughts down there, and I'll try to read them. Sometimes, it just depends on the notifications thing, with YouTube. So, but yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.